Easy peasy.
Oh, hey, everybody. I'm Scott Stewart. That's not Eric Martins. Today, it is Wednesday, April 1st, April Fool's Day, but I don't have a fool. I got Scott Stewart. Stewie at Stewie ST1963 on Twitter, the retweet king, back on the pod. Another version of a Stewie chat. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up, man?
How you holding up? You're in Florida. You're in the place where everybody's going out to the beaches still like idiots.
Yeah, we got a bunch of fools down here. People from the north coming down and doing their spring break crap and getting everybody infected. And then traveling back to New York and getting everybody else sick up there.
Ah, fools. So you're like a DFS legend, Stewie.
Really?
Well, hey, you're kind of in the know. You're in the industry. You know everybody. You got your fingers connected to a lot of different podcast people. You do a lot of the content creating, kind of retweeting. You're just involved. Plus, you have won bigly. You are a person who has cashed a comma at the Amex. Was it the Amex?
Yes, it was.
You won 3 different GPPs, dude. Tell us about how that – or do you want to talk about your MegaProfit now, or do you want to wait until we talk about that in a minute?
Well, that's up to you, man. You're doing the interview.
I'm in charge. I say let's just talk about you first, because we already know you MegaProfited. We can talk about that in a second, but let's talk about – this is what I'm doing, Stewie. I got the names in the industry coming to talk to me, and I'm getting to know the people behind the screen names. And you are Stewie ST1963 on Twitter. Follow you. Tell us a little bit about your background. Where did you get started in DFS and fantasy sports in general? Give us a little quick background on you.
Sure. I've been playing not DFS for a few years, but fantasy football I've been playing for years. Baseball, football. What attracts me to fantasy is the numbers part of it. I'm not a math guy, but I love numbers. I can do quick calculations in my head and do percentages and things like that, and that's very attractive to me. Back in the 90s is when I started playing fantasy sports. Season long, basically. That was
okay.
before.
So you're not a young whippersnapper. You're not generation millennial.
I'm 57, so I'm a little bit older than most in the business.
So you started with the newspaper and adding it up yourself and all that?
Yeah, I used to look at the lines in the paper. That's where you went for all your information, was your daily paper. I can remember when I was younger watching Jimmy the Greek on CBS, and he was picks, and that was really the first time I ever got involved with kind of like gambling with football, and then went to baseball. But Jimmy the Greek was a pioneer in the sport.
That was like controversial at the time when he was talking picks.
Well, he was controversial in the end. That's what kind of got him booted with his racist kind of outlook. But, that's what got him booted. But that's when I first got excited about, the lines and how that worked. And it was the math part that really attracted me. And then I went from there to the pony, highlight, the dog track, all that stuff. That was numbers.
Okay, so you're in Florida. You're quarantined in Florida. That's near a bunch of racetracks. There's stuff that's still going on. The Florida Derby was last week. Are you still betting horses? Are you still interested in that today? Do you go look at the horses in person?
Yeah, I'm still betting, but I haven't been out. I'm more of since I was disabled, I pretty much stay in a lot, but I do miss going to the track. I don't like going out now because I'm at a high risk for this. What do they call it? COVID. Yeah, I'm at high risk for that. I have high risk factors for that. So I'm diabetic and neuropathy and a whole bunch of things that congestive heart failure, a bunch of things that are not good to be around people who are sick. So
yeah, tell everybody, stay the fuck home, you idiots. You're putting people like you at risk.
The longer, if you stay home, it's gonna shorten what's going on. But if you're going out and acting like a fool, that's just that's beyond me. I look at it, I shake my head and go, man, young and stupid. That's what I think, man. Young and
So you got a little time on your hands. Do you? I think you should start a YouTube page or a Periscope or a podcast. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about starting the Stewie Pod?
I thought about it, but I, I'm not so sure I'd be really good at it. I mean, you guys
What
are
do you
great.
mean? We're not good at it. No one's good at it. You just start the camera, hit record, see what happens.
You guys are awesome, man. I love your show. I do.
Thanks.
It's one of the highlights is watching you guys.
Oh, I appreciate that. Well,
They're-
so
it's cool.
what about your background in fantasy, like DFS particularly? When did you start? Did you start with baseball, or did you start with NFL and then you found golf, or have you just been always into golf? What's your DFS background?
I started with baseball. Didn't do very well. I mean, really, not well at all. Then football, and didn't do well there either. Not that I don't like playing those sports, but the sharps in those sports are a little more prevalent than they are in golf.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked up on the Pat Mayo experience during football season a few years back. And then they're doing golf, and I love golf. To be quite honest with you, I would never watch golf on TV because for me, it was just way too boring.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a little skin in the game, that's a little different.
Right.
And then you can critique the announcers and the way they put the program on and stuff like that. I think sometimes it stinks because you can't see all your players. I mean, there's guys that are, don't get me started on the golf.
Dude, imagine if you couldn't watch like the second quarter of the Vikings game or something. You'd just be like, that makes no sense. Or they would show every pass from one quarterback, but then the rest of the league you don't see a single pass from in the highlight reel.
It's like they come back from a commercial and they tell you, "Oh yeah, the Vikings just scored 3 touchdowns," but we can't tell you that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's bad.
Right, that got 3 yards. I mean, that's basically the way I look at golf coverage. It's kind of ridiculous. I think what they're doing is they're not sure who their demographics are right at the point. Yep. I mean, back in the old days, it was different. You had a different demographic. They have not changed with the times as far as they have not. I mean, people who are watching golf now are people who are interested basically in the DFS approach and the betting.
Yep.
I mean, embrace that the rest of the country's starting to approve from state to state legalized gambling. I mean, it's a new source of revenue for the state. Makes a lot of sense. So you would think CBS or NBC or don't get me started on those guys. That's just
right. We could do a whole podcast on the shitty coverage. Let's talk about. Hey, did you have a W-2 from DraftKings this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, because you got to hashtag MegaProfit because you took down, like I was saying at the beginning of the pod, the 10-cent GPP, the quarter arcade, and the short game all in 1 week with Andrew Landry winning the Amex. How did this happen? You turned $90 into $1,900?
Yeah, I ended up winning actually $2,200 altogether. I had some stuff where I was doing head-to-heads, and that lineup did pretty well. Andrew Landry was the man for me. And to be honest with you, I look at I have as you guys already know, I'm with Fantasy National as a seasonal, a lifetime membership. I don't work for them in any capacity. I just got it because I guess I was retweeting a lot and they're appreciative of it. So the Moose and Pat and the rest of the guys over there who are the creators of that content said, you know what, let's just give them a lifetime membership, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Those guys are awesome. So what I did.
That's like hundreds of dollars of value for life. I mean, like that's thousands maybe.
Yeah, and what I do is I basically take a look. I read everything I can possibly read. I watch everything I can possibly watch. And being retired, I have the time to do that. I understand people work for a living. Well, I don't. So I basically sit at home and do this all day. So
More reason to start your own pods, Stewie. Come on.
I don't know about that, but I have time to do research, and thanks to Fantasy National, I'm able to plug in what I need to plug in and create my player pools from there.
So you do use a player pool. Do you whittle it down to half the field, 20 players? What's your player pool look like?
Well, I know the lineup generator on Fantasy National has a different set where you star your players, based upon the course. When the course comes up, they have certain like strokes gained off the tee is the number one thing, or driving, or distance between so and so. You figure that all out during the beginning of the week, and then you star your team, your players, and then it has an alternative to do secondary pools. Like you can do one pool and two pools, and then basically I have like, if it's a large tournament with 170 players, I'll do 80 maybe in my initial pool, and then I'll pare it down to like 75, 60, something like that, based on the tournament. And then I'll do secondary pools, lineups, where you can, I guess it's hard to explain for me. It's like whoever I favor, basically, who I think's going to do well, I'll put in a separate pool.
Okay.
And then they'll get the priority as far as my percentages of players owned.
So you're generating lineups through Moose's site, fantasynational.com.
Yeah, Moose's site. Yep.
Cool.
Definitely.
We just talked to Moose the other day, so that pod's coming out soon. Do you actually play one lineup and single entry? I know you're obviously doing the 20 entries, and that's what you took down, is the one where there's 3 contests with the 20 entries, and you took all 3 of those down. Is that what you do every week? What's your routine of entering contests?
Yeah, my routine of entering contests is I'm a small-time player. I don't – a large week for me would be $90 to $100. If that's a really large week for me. But mostly in the $50 to $60 range at the most. And I'll enter 20 entry tournaments, 20 max, and single entry, and free entry, basically. I like to cut my odds because I know there are some sharks out there that like to play the larger GPPs with 150 entries. This way I can keep it a little more concentrated. It's easier.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. Do you have any important advice as a winner of this stuff? Do you have a rule of thumb? Eric and I talk about if the guy was hot with his irons, poor with his putter, the irons might stay the same and the putter might switch. So you want to look at somebody that was bad with a putter but good with an irons the next week. Do you have a rule of thumb that you kind of go with on stats or just in general, picking names?
I try to understand 3 rules that I have, basically. Loyalty and any DFS thing there's 3 things. It's to your wallet, to your family, and you don't like, if you're a huge Vikings fan, when you're playing DFS, you can't, like I said, loyalty is to your wallet, not family second. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right, dude. You got to have an unbiased opinion for sure.
You got to look at it. That's why I love the anti-bias filter on Fantasy National, where they connect bands to certain players. You don't know really who you're picking. You're just basically doing it upon the stats, and then you flip the out of the bias mode, and you realize, holy crap, I would have never played him. I don't like him. I never played him, but he's, that is perfect for this course. And I think history is a big thing. I take a lot of notes. I date them. I listen to every pod. I take notes on all the pods, and I date them. And then the following year, I'll go back as the tournaments come up following year, and I'll take a look at my notes and say, oh, well, this guy did well here, and this is what they talked about, and this is the actually what happened.
This is your podcast, dude. This is what you do. You do a review, like Wednesday mornings. You come up with you kind of have your notes and you just read your notes. That's your podcast. And then you say, here's what we saw from last year. And then you do a 20-minute pod about your notes every Wednesday. Boom.
suppose I could do that. I mean, I have the time to do that, but
Dude, I would love that. I'll come on and talk to you. I'll retweet it. I'll do whatever to do. It'll be fun. I'll teach you how to use YouTube. It's easy.
there you go. I enjoy promoting the sport, the DFS golf, especially all DFS. I like promoting that, and I think as more and more time goes by, it's going to become more and more mainstream. And
Totally.
I think it's going to be the next big wave.
Cool. So lastly, before I get you out of here, do you have any shout outs? Do you have anything you want to talk about quick? I know you love Fantasy National. You're a lifetime member. Follow you on Twitter. You got the retweets of everything that's important. What else is going on? Give me some shout outs. Tell me what's up.
Yeah, I love one of the guys that I follow, and he's actually the only site that I actually pay to play. Yeah, the rest of the stuff I get free from listening to podcasts, and I do my own research. So on Fantasy National, I really don't need anything else. But Rick at Rick Run Good is
We talked to him a couple days ago.
Yeah, he's a great site. I think he has great insight. His tools are very good. I mean, they're very comparable to Fantasy National.
That's Rick Run Good. Rick Run Good on Twitter. I believe it's dfsondemand.com. He has all the tools that you need. We talked about him. Look back at our pod with him if I haven't posted that already.
Yeah, and you can also like Pat Mayo at Fantasy National. I mean, all the podcasts they do and stuff is not only based on what's good for the tournament that week, but they also have very entertaining stuff out. The camaraderie between him and Feinberg and Paul Shaughnessy in the background, those guys are awesome.
And Cust, it's a great.
I always listen to that. Nagel's Bagels is another one I listen to. And of course I listen to you guys. You guys are awesome.
Oh yeah.
I love your show. I do.
Do you read the hardo.org report? Are you a member of Hardo?
Yeah, I read Hardo, and Cecil's great, awesome. Wiley, I love that podcast. I love, like I said, Moose and all those guys over at Fantasy National. Those guys are awesome. And let me see if I don't forget anybody. No, I think that's pretty much it. And if disclaimer, if I forgot to mention you, yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
One of my problems is short-term memory loss. So, down.
Right on. Well, Stewie, thank you for joining us again on the pod, and we'll have you back again because this is just fun. And I really do think you should start something, and you should start recording it and maybe just putting yourself out there. Why not?
Sure, I guess I could do that. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, if you think Stewie should start his own pod, put a comment on this, tweet him, and we'll do we'll force it. We'll do a little peer pressure to make Stewie do something.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway, you're the man. I appreciate you. Talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks, Chad. Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate everything you do, man.
Same, likewise. Talk to you later.